Here's a thought exercise. Has any player in NFL history ever accomplished more and been respected less than Lamar Jackson? Is he a perfect player? No. Has he struggled in the playoffs early in his career like the vast majority of quarterbacks? Yes. Does he deserve to be ranked behind Kyler Murray? You gotta be bleeping kidding me. Lamar Jackson, I am not a huge quarterback wins guy, but it is part of the equation. He is 30-7 as a starter. That's remarkable. It's even more remarkable when you think of the fact if you just remove the games he's played against the guy in the number 1 spot, he's 30-4 as a starter. Almost half his career losses come against the most talented player in league history, Patrick Mahomes. And I know folks like to pick at the playoff stuff and what he does poorly. And I understand that. But I think it's also fair to ask, is there another quarterback in the league that with the offense Baltimore has, with Greg Roman as the coordinator, with Willie Snead and Hollywood Brown being your top targets, could have had them, what was his record last year? 11-4. And the year before, 13-2. Like, are there many guys that in the regular season could do more than what he has done with that team? Kyler, who's ahead of him, all he's had is DeAndre Hopkins, Larry Fitzgerald. Now he gets A.J. Brown. So, like, I don't know why. I understand why Lamar's not ahead of the top guys. But having him behind Kyler, and one could argue Dak, is a bridge too far for me, Coach.
Well, again, his record is staggering, and his record is almost like the records that you see when guys are coming out of college, and that alone is really important. Now, when you look at his quarterback rating, that's very good. His completion percentage, that's very good. There's so, and then you factor in 2,000-yard seasons rushing as well. Now, you knock Greg Roman as a coordinator. But to me, part of the reason he's had the success he's had, actually a significant part of the reason, is because of Greg Roman. And Greg had Colin Kaepernick in San Francisco, and this system couldn't be more perfect for what Lamar does. And it's creative in the running game. It's never been a great passing system, but it's played to a lot of Lamar's strengths. And my knock on Lamar has been, if the whole world knows you have to pass, if you're playing a guy like Patrick Mahomes, and that's the situation you're in, can you do it, and can you do it effectively? And that's where I think his development has not been as good as people have hoped.
Correct.
And I don't know how much of a jump he's going to continue to make there, but that's where he has to make a significant jump, because you can't sustain these rushing numbers. You can't sustain the volume of hits. I don't care how big you are. It's the saying, there's a lot of good young running quarterbacks, but there aren't very many good old ones, because the volume of hits eventually add up. But I do agree with you on his placement. He should be up 2 or 3 more spots. I'd argue he should be above Dak as well. And you could make a serious argument that he should be at least even with Josh Allen or above Josh Allen.
Yep.
Because his production over the course of their careers has been significantly better. So I don't think it's fair where he is, but I think the criticism of him not developing as a pure passer is valid, and it's something he's going to have to prove that he can overcome.
Well, you hit it on the head, Coach. I think the reason, remember, this is a projection. This is not based on what he's done in the past, not based on who is better at this very moment, but a projection. And there's a skepticism around the league, with people in the league, media. Obviously, this was ESPN, so it was media, about how long a quarterback who is primarily a runner can last. And I have to admit, I'm in that band. I'm skeptical about it. And the hits, he's done a great job of avoiding really big hits. But can you keep doing that? You know, when that 4.3 40 becomes a 4.4 40, you know, then the shots that you were avoiding, you're now catching. And he declined as a passer last year. I think he's a better passer than people give him credit for. But this year, already, Hollywood Brown just returns from injury. Sammy Watkins is already banged up. And the rookie Rashad Bateman that they're expecting a lot from is out for a few weeks. So who is he going to throw to? If he just continues to throw to the tight ends, then people are going to underrate him, and the league is going to get closer and closer to figuring him out. So I think, Nick, that's where this stems from.
But so a couple things. You mentioned when the 4.4 or 4.3 40 becomes a 4.5 40. This is a projection, but it's not a projection for 2025. It's a projection for this year. And I agree, I think the Lamar Jackson commentary is usually missing a beat because, and I've said this many times, I'll say it again, some of the criticism of him early on was not only so clearly wrong, but it was being made by some of the worst people in the business that nobody wants to be lumped in with them. So now they've gone sometimes too far in the other direction and ignore some of his flaws. And there are flaws. But Wilds, because sometimes you can help me understand things. Like sometimes I'm almost too far in the weeds. Why is there seemingly so much more faith that Josh Allen's one great year, that's who he's going to be moving forward? Josh Allen was awful as a rookie, mediocre as a second-year player, mediocre as a college player, and then was amazing last year. Lamar's amazing year was better than Josh Allen's amazing year. Lamar's amazing year, his team went 14-2 and he won a unanimous MVP. His other 2 years were clearly better than Josh Allen's other 2 years. Yet Josh Allen gets the second best contract in sports history and very few people criticize it. They're like, yep, got to do it. Lamar hasn't been paid. Lamar gets constantly rated beneath him. Meanwhile, Josh Allen has Stephon Diggs, has MC Cole Beasley, has these weapons. Like, why is America ready to say Josh Allen is the guy? Josh Allen, that's who he's going to be. But I need to see more from Lamar. Like, why?
Well, that's what is it just the weapons? So, like, obviously, it's not a coincidence that Stephon shows up and all of a sudden Josh Allen looks amazing. Stephon leads the league in yards. Right. Jake Kumerow's there, too, alongside MC Cole Beasley. So, Coach, my question to you is this. We look at the top 10 quarterbacks. All of those guys have not just good, they have great weapons around them. Maybe Tyreek's the best. Oh, no, Devontae's the best. You know who's unstoppable? DK Metcalf, Stephon Diggs led the league in yards. Oh, Dak's got 3 number ones. Most guys have 1. He's got 3. We know Mike Evans is good. We know DeAndre Hopkins is good. And who's Lamar got? Mark Andrews and Sammy Watkins and Rashad Bateman, who is good at Minnesota, and hopefully he'll be good again. How much of Lamar's, let's say, lack of throwing success is because his number 1 receiver is ranked in like the 40s when you look at yards per game?
Well, to get to Nick's point, and then I'll come back to your point, Nick, I think that the difference is Josh Allen is showing growth and he's showing development, and Lamar took a step back in a lot of categories last year. So it's a little bit like when you buy stocks. Apple has record earnings and their stock goes down because people think, can he do it again? Can he maintain it? And then you've got some stocks that have no earnings but show a little bit of growth and they skyrocket. It's because you're betting on what's going to happen moving forward. And when the arrow's pointing up, people get excited about that. And to the point about not having weapons, I think, and I believe and I know that quarterbacks should be able to elevate the people around them. And I'm not taking anything away from having great weapons, but you want to see a constant elevation of the players that are around you. And when you have to start talking about he needs more weapons, it's the discussion we always have about Dak Prescott that frustrates me. If you are truly a franchise quarterback and a player in that position, the players around you are going to have numbers that are probably above what they should have because of the things that you can do. And we're not having that discussion with Lamar. We're having a very different discussion.
That's fair, but with that said, the patron saint of everyone on this show, except for me, Tom Brady, his last year in New England, when he didn't have the weapons, all of a sudden he stinks. Team's not that good. He throws a pick six, lose playoff game, goes to Tampa. They have a ton of weapons, and they win the damn Super Bowl. But listen, Mahomes, Rodgers, Wilson, and Brady are the only four quarterbacks in the league. I know it's unfair. I'm always unfair to Tom Brady.
I'm just saying.
Won't anyone ever be nice to Tom Brady?
You've got 20 years of data, which shows that he plays with guys that we took from a packing,
No, it's right. Randy Moss, Rob Gronkowski,
and they go. I know those two guys. Look at some of the early receivers.
Brady needs more help. I agree. Yeah, early receivers. Yeah, Troy Brown. I understand. Deion Branch are not good players. I understand. You never liked them. It's fine.
All right.
Yeah, I watched a lot of you guys win games 17-14. Defense.
Travis
Coach's defense won the games.
I mean, he's terrible.
Yeah.
Travis
No, I didn't say that.
We're going to get back to this list.
I didn't say that.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.